enough. So I did get sober for a little bit, and I had my son, and he was healthy, and we were pretty much, I look back on it now, when we were just really playing house. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my ex-husband was working, and I was at home with my son, and I thought that, like I said, I was put on this world to be a mom. And that is when, I think it's when we got our first tax return from claiming my son, which was, a pretty hefty amount. And we paid up all our bills, and we had a lot extra. So we decided to get some drugs. You know, that's what addiction is. You don't rationalize things very well. You know,
right.
It's insanity. It's you know, you definitely don't think things through. You don't think about the consequences. My entire life, I never considered the consequences for anything. Everything was immediate satisfaction and gratification, and I needed what I wanted. I wanted it right then. I wanted it now, and I wanted to get the benefits, whether it be like drugs or money. I needed it then. I needed it now. I wasn't willing to work for anything or accept the consequences for any of my actions. So we started again with the crack, and then our drug dealer introduced us to heroin. And my son was probably just turned a year old. And it was, I couldn't, from that first shot of heroin, I never stopped. There wasn't, we immediately hit the ground running with this drug, and it took over our lives. And within 5 months, we lost custody of our son.
Wow.
My mother,
was that the first time you ever mainlined anything, like intravenously used? With the needle?
Yes. And that was, a dual addiction with not only the heroin, but the needle as well. And we lost everything. He quit his job. We lost, custody of my son, and we didn't have any other way to support our drug habit but to break into people's sheds and, steal their tools and go and pawn them. Like I said, we weren't thinking about consequences of our actions. So we were doing this so recklessly, and we got caught really, really fast. It happened very fast because we weren't being careful about anything. We were just worried about not being dope sick. We were worried about getting that next fix. I thought that once we lost custody of my son, that was going to be it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my son back. And that was not my moment of clarity. Mm-hmm. It took me a lot more than that. But, yes, we eventually got arrested and racked up numerous, breaking and entering charges, aiding and abetting, larceny. I mean, the list really goes on. And that is the first time I went to prison. I did a little under 2 years in a maximum security prison.
How was that?
I thought that was interesting. Prison is not like I thought it was going to be, like how I see it on TV. It's definitely not a cure for addiction. That's for sure.
It's just a controlled environment. Krista, hang on. We have to take our first break, and I'm going to pause you right there. But we'll continue with this story and your journey in just a moment. And just stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking to expand your knowledge in the mental health field and earn CEU credits at the same time? DID Discovering Hope is having their annual Creating Resilience Conference on November 15th and 16th, and it's open to all trauma survivors and therapists. 2 days of educational workshops will be led by internationally respected experts, including keynote speaker Dr. Colin A. Ross. For mental health professionals, 11 hours of CEUs are available. For more information or to register, visit diddiscoveringhope.org. Once again, that's diddiscoveringhope.org.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hi, and welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity, and my name's Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today, my guest is a childhood sexual abuse survivor, and she struggled with heroin addiction for over a decade. She spent 3.5 years in prison, and she was a part of domestic sex trafficking to support her addiction. And she is on her way to recovery, and she's got this wonderful platform on social media called Sober Momster. And she raises awareness and really encourages recovery and her journey as well. And I so appreciate her transparency and honesty. And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Krista Tur.
Yay.
Hi. And Krista, we have a caller waiting, but I want to get into your story. We're going to get back to what prison was like, but we have a caller, Patrick. Hi, Patrick. Welcome to Moments of Clarity.
Hey, Tiff and Krista, how's it going?
Hi, thanks for calling in.
Hey, so I just wanted to, I recently just got released from prison too, and my question is what steps did you take, or how did you find help to help keep you on the right track? Because I know when you first get out, it's kind of like you almost don't know where to start, and it's hard to get going and put the right people around you. So, how did you manage to get yourself on the right track?
Good question.
So the first time I went to prison, I didn't take any steps. That was the mistake that I made. I went right back to the same people, places, and things as before. And that's, a recipe for disaster. I did have a second prison stay that was, another 2 years. And when I got out this time, I knew that I had to do whatever it took to stay sober, and I had to definitely get away from any of the people that I had used with previously, get away from those places, which was not easy. I was willing to sacrifice and, stay, if I had to, stay in a sober living house or even a homeless shelter if I wasn't going to have anywhere to stay, and surround myself with a support system of other sober people. Mm-hmm. I know that, 12 steps has been a part of my story, not a huge part, just because I'm a single mom and it's kind of hard to implement that into my life. But I got with people that had, that were a part of long-term recovery, and I pulled and I picked their brains, and I pulled from different people, and got ideas for coping mechanisms and how to deal with the cravings and the obsession. The obsession was what I dealt with for a long time. and I couldn't, I thought about using all day, every day. I'm not sure exactly what your specific story is, but, when you're coming out of prison, you just have to have this sense of desperation to not go back to the life that you were living before, and a sense of determination to do whatever it takes, and finding resources and spending all of your time looking for resources and applying them to your life. And, we all start from the bottom and work our way up. And as long as you just take it, not think about everything as collective, you have to get a job, you have to get a place to stay, all those things, you have to just take it, step back, and take it one day at a time. I know that's cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, because it works and it's true. One step at a time, one day at a time, one goal and one step, literally at a time. And that's the advice that I could give you on that.
Well, I really appreciate what you said, because, I've actually been sober for almost 19 months. So, I've finally figured that out too. But the thing that, I watched one of your posts about depression, and one of the important things that I think you said in there was that you need to reach out for help. And I think that's kind of the hardest part a lot of times, is just asking for help. Sure. And so I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that. So you guys have a great day, and I will listen.
Thank you. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
And
right,
so
bye.
true. So true that taking one thing at a time is very crucial, and not feeling overwhelmed, because life does get overwhelming for everybody. But especially if a trigger or a coping skill is drug abuse or substance abuse, even from an early age, you have to kind of relive and relearn everything, because you've been escaping reality for years through substance abuse.
Yeah,
reality can be different and scary.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a recipe for disaster for me, when I would be like, I need to get this done. I need to get a job. I need to get a house. I need to make more money. Having all those things, trying to think about them collectively was, definitely a recipe for disaster for me. Me and my way of thinking is what got me to my rock bottom in the first place. So I definitely had to be open to other people's suggestions, people that had been successful in recovery and at adulting,
Adulting is hard.
Yes, it is hard. But I love it. I wouldn't trade the life that I have today for anything. So yeah, that first day in prison was not enough for me to get sober. During that prison stay, I lost touch with my husband, my ex-husband now, and we went our separate ways. So I was re-entered into the addictive lifestyle on my own, and my crazy way of thinking thought, oh well, now I don't have to share anything anymore. I will have so much money to myself now. And that was my insane way of thinking. So now that I did have a partner in crime, somebody to co-sign on my BS, I didn't have that person anymore. So I had to get creative, how am I going to support this drug addiction of mine? And that is when I entered into the life of domestic sex trafficking and prostitution. That is a huge part of my story. It was a fast and easy way, not very easy, but it was the thing that I could do the quickest to make the most amount of money. And like I said before, my experience in my past with the sexual abuse had rewired my brain to what sex was supposed to be. So it didn't really seem like I could shut my brain off during those times and kind of just go empty in my mind. I had trained myself to shut off during those moments. And looking back on it now, that's another trauma, that I am dealing with today. being sober and I couldn't do those things without being high.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like it was just this vicious cycle, and this continued on for years with this dangerous. I mean, that lifestyle is so dangerous. Getting into cars with men that I have no clue